South Africa's premier circuit racing show, the Westbank Super Series, performed at the ever-hospitable Zwartkops Raceway last Saturday, with 5 of its 6 disciplines in action. The occasion was round 8 of this year's Super Series, with gloriously sunny Highveld weather helping to ensure a large crowd at the Sasol Spring Race Day. On-track competition apart, the Sasol skydivers dropped in at lunchtime, and we asked Sasol's management about their visible presence at the country's various circuits.
This is Zipporah Mutua, the communications marketing manager for Sasol. I guess we have to thank this race day to you.
Welcome. It's my pleasure.
For sure. Now, tell me, Sasol has been involved in motorsport for a long time, and why is it important?
Well, motor racing actually is a platform for Sasol to test our range of products, including fuel and lubricants, under very, very stringent conditions. I would say, this race is actually very, very important because we tend to refer to it as an interactive laboratory, meaning that it's actually where we can see how fuel and engine combustion and all that, how it works, and if we really are taking our products to a high level in terms of performance.
Top billing for the day belonged to the Bridgestone Production Car Championship contingent, which would face the starter with a total of 32 cars. It set the scene for awesome spectacle, as explained by Westbank Super Series spokesman Chop Sapuka.
It is all action with round 8 of the Westbank Super Series. SA's hottest riders and drivers find themselves at the Spring Sasol Race Day here at Zwartkops. Chops, you've been around this course plenty of times. What are the viewers in for?
Well, they're in for quite a bit of action. From a driver's point of view, it's a very healthy circuit that sort of keeps the drivers on their toes. We've got a very long race, 15 race, abrasive on brakes because it's got short straights, some of the fast straights, then on the anchors again. So brakes are going to take a little bit of strain here, but we hope to make it work.
The 2008 season has seen Bridgestone production car racing growing at the top end, with 9 separate manufacturers involved. We spoke to Nuno de Cunha of the privateer Sam Racing team.
Absolutely. Obviously, Class A is a top class, but certainly over the last 12 months, 18 months, I've seen, and I think we all seen an extremely good growth in production cars, specifically in Class T. Like you said, and you've seen brands racing in Class T or in production cars that weren't there. And it's created, I think, a public awareness. I think what's good about production cars is that the public at large enjoy and like to be associated with the product that they drive. And I think it's been great, and I can certainly see next year even growing. I've heard of other manufacturers that intend joining the series, so it's great.
With a good starting position vital for success on the treacherous 2.4-kilometre Zwartkops circuit, official qualifying at the venue is always a white-knuckled affair. This time there were surprises at the front end, and we interviewed the 3 quickest drivers.
Would have liked second, just got put by 300ths of a second to second. Second would have been good. We always thought we wouldn't catch Darby. Darby last year was quick, also about 3-4 tenths quicker than anybody. So second place was on the cards for us, and just a few mistakes, 2 mistakes in qualifying. One was letting Sean follow me. So, but anyway, so he put me by 300ths. But, it's 15 laps. The car's excellent. We were considerably quicker this morning than both of them, so looking forward to the race.
The 2 front row occupants were both extremely happy men.
Yeah, it feels great to be back up there. We started the season so strongly with 3 wins in the first 3 meetings, and then 4 races on the trot with pretty abominable results have pushed me back. So yeah, it's great to be near the front again. As Melville says, it was he probably deserved second, but if you haven't got the pace, sometimes you've got to be a little bit treacherous, and made a plan and really did a fantastic lap. I couldn't have squeezed anything more out of it, but I have to thank Melville for the tow as well. So yeah, looking forward to the race. I think it's going to be very tough because practice hasn't been as good as we'd hope it to be, but we'll give it our best.
We were a bit surprised, but obviously after the second round testing yesterday, we thought we had an outside chance to try and put it on pole. Now, for me, it's quite important, especially at this track, where there's not a lot of passing maneuvers. that can take place because of the width of the track. I wanted to put it on pole, and yeah, when I came off the circuit and heard that it was on pole, I was surprised, but the plan worked out.
As an indication of just how ferociously competitive local production car racing is at the moment, last weekend's qualifying times of the top 10 Class A drivers were covered by less than a second. The tight confines of the circuit saw all-wheel drive cars in the top 4 places.
It's action coming your way. Bridgestone production Class A's, and backing the boys up, Davy Olivier. Nice to see him on the front row of the grid. Next to him, Sean Watson-Smith, and it's heavy under braking as they get into that first corner, and the guys are bunched up. Have a look at Melville Priest and my car, Audi, looking for a good position into that hairpin coming up. But we're on board with Chop Sapuka. Sid, what do you think of the action so far, my mate?
Chop Sapuka hunting down that BMW Afrox of Anthony Taylor. But as you can see, it looks like Johan Ferrari of Indy Oil Audi's got a good start, being the heaviest car out on the track today, keeping Taylor at bay. But we'll see what the BMW Afrox has got in plan for today's race.
Well, I think a lot of guys are thanking Davy. Normally with a rolling start, the guys trying to get off to a quick start, but Davy backing them up in the line, and it's giving him space. That Subaru STI is so blitz fast here at Zwartkops, and he's certainly got off to a good start. But the guys are getting super defensive. You can have a look at Johan holding that inside line as we catch up with the action now. Anthony Taylor looking ahead at Michael Stephen. And what a surprise to find the Audis qualifying so well here at Zwartkops. I think it surprised the BMWs in particular.
Yeah, as you can see, the BMW is trying as hard as they can to basically help themselves ahead of that field. As you can see, there's a bit of a battle there happening between the tubular Nissan 350Z of Darren Lobb and the BMW Afrox of Ted van der Linde. But it looks like it's going to be a good race so far, going through that first bend.
Well, Zwartkops is an incredible track. 15 laps these production cars are going to be doing around here. And it's all action right in the beginning, but how their tyres are going to hold out, and more importantly, their brakes as we get later on into the race. Davy seems to have it pretty sewn up. You see Sean sliding off the track there. That is not the usual line for Sean through that corner. So I'm sure he's had some technical failure on that Engine Extreme Audi. 3.2 litres, it is super powerful, but not when it's riding in the sand. Even the 4x4 won't help him there. So that's Sean Watson-Smith out of the race, which is going to help Melville Priest slide into second place. And we see a damaged Audi limping it back into the start-finish straight. But the Sam Racing Nissan's way at the back, not where they want to be after qualifying fairly well with Marco Acuna in 5th.
Well, Indy Audi of Johan Ferrari is doing very well, trying to push as hard as you can, catching up to that Engine Extreme Audi, and seeing what's happening here, riding now with Chop Sapuka of Cecil Nissan 350Z, currently riding in 6th position. A good result so far, but we'll see what happens here. It's an awesome track for spectators. You can see almost every angle on the track, and as they go hard on the brakes into that right-hander, and we're going to go first into the first left-handers.
Yeah, I must admit, I think that the Nissans seem to have a good setup for the race. They were very disappointed, Leroy and Chops, with their qualifying, but looking good, and that at the end of the day is what counts. You've got to make this car last for 15 long laps around the Zwartkops racetrack. The driver never stops, and on a hot day like today, 32 degrees, the boys are going to be sweating up a storm in there, and not going to be an easy race. But on board, Chops is certainly putting Anthony Taylor in that Afrox BMW under some serious pressure. It's 330 in front of him with a serious amount of grunt coming out of those rear wheels. And they're heading to the very tricky first corner. You don't want to be losing it here because you want to line up for that hairpin bend. This is great onboard racing action.
Into that hairpin, as you can see, the Class C cars just moving out the way, helping Taylor go through, but more importantly, helping Chops catch up to Anthony Taylor in the Afrox BMW. It's all flat down this right-hander here, as they're going to be hard onto the brakes after that corner. Awesome spectator view, as well as going into the front of the field now, catching up with Davy Olivier.
Yeah, have a look. Melville Priest has got his lights on blazing. This is where things start getting tricky, the Zwartkops course. It is a full track. We've got our Class Bs, we've got our Class Ts, and you saw the Class Cs. So our front runners in the Bridgestone production Class As having to make their way through the crowd as we have a look, a very aggressive move into that top section. Chop Sapuka finally lining up Anthony Taylor in that Afrox BMW, and it's paid dividends on that back straight as he comes into the inside section now, leading onto the start-finish straight. Chops having a great race result. Well done to him. But up front, last lap, Davy just being far too strong. We have a look there, Michael Stephen getting a mechanical failure flag, having to pull in on that final lap, not doing his championship points too well. But great result to see that Subaru on the front row. Davy must be stoked, getting his first race win the season. And an awesome result for Chop Sapuka in that Cecil Nissan in 4th place. Very good.
Awesome results as well for Melville Priest, as well as Johan Ferrari in 3rd place. Davy Olivier still celebrating around the track. Telltale signs of tell you that that Extreme Audi still not well. Let's see if they'll be back for race 2.
There was a definite sense of deja vu at Zwartkops. A year ago, Davy Olivier also beat the works teams with his Subaru at the circuit, and many people were on hand to congratulate him.
Tell me, big smiles, eh? For sure. We led from start to finish. You backed the guys up really well on that rolling start. You actually caused a bit of trouble, I think.
Why?
No, in terms of all the Audis backed up, I know a lot of the Nissans weren't happy.
You know what? There's always a complaint with rolling starts that people say the front guys are going so fast that the tail enders are struggling to keep up. So I don't want anybody to cry because I did that. So I wanted to keep them, bunch them all up so that we all have a very good chance of doing it.
A recent study asked, where does talent come from? Are you born with it? Now, what the study found was, practice makes perfect.
It's a race to reverse grid, and here we go, some more action. Standing start, who's going to benefit? Normally does benefit the Audis going into that first corner. Side by side, looks like Paul just got nudged by Darren Lobb.
Yeah, the two Nissan drivers not loving each other into that first bend, and this is certainly not the start to race 2 that Leroy and the Nissan Sassel team would like. But it seems like he's not the only one going the agricultural route. Davy Olivier, a race winner in that first race, having to start at the back of the grid. All that work to do, but it's a four-wheel drive Subaru, so he should be doing okay in the kitty litter. But Etienne van der Linde, that Afrox BMW, getting the start he wanted with that inverted grid. He had a very sick car in race number 1, but it's looking super fast right now in race number 2.
A good battle there for fourth position there between the two Audis of Johan Fourie and Melville Priest. Riding now with Chop Sepuka. He looks like he just nudged the Engine Extreme Audi.
Yeah, that's Michael Stevens' car. You might notice that the names are taped up. We saw his car after race 1, had fears that it might be terminal, and in fact it is. And to keep the championships alive for Michael Steven, defending champion Sean Watson-Smith has actually given his 3.2-litre Audi NGN Extreme vehicle to Michael Steven to keep his championships alive. That is true sportsmanship and a great teamwork as well. But let's catch up now with the action up front. Great footage as these guys come screaming through that first bend. And Darren Lobb seems to be holding up the rest of the pack, giving Etienne van der Linde that break he needs. But Anthony Taylor, Afrox BMW, is looking agitated. He wants to get by Darren Lobb in that Sam Racing Nissan.
Davy was saying earlier when we spoke to him that it's very difficult to overtake on this track, but it looks like he's making some headway.
Yeah, that Subaru not starting the second race the way he wants it, but with clean and clear track ahead of him, he can really put the hammer down and catch up to these guys in front of him. So I'm predicting Sydney in a lap or 2, he's going to be right on the back of that little group and be fighting for hopefully a double race win today, but he's got a lot of work to do.
Yes, a lot of work he's got ahead of himself. As you can see, the two Audis are still at a battle for 4th position. Chasing down Darren Lobb is Anthony Taylor as they're heading into the last left into that pit straight. Who's going to make it through that first corner?
Yeah, I think Darren Lobb in that Sam Racing Nissan feeling the pressure of Anthony Taylor, getting a bit wrong going into that start-finish straight. But look how these cars are bunched up. The spectators have come to expect this. The viewers at home, this is what we love. Super Bridgestone production Class A action, and it is hotting up. As we look at Johan Fourie putting his nose into place, he probably shouldn't. There's a bit of bodywork rubbing, and Melville Priest has now got a good line, and hopefully can get a toe up on the inside of Johan Fourie. Look at the power of that four-wheel drive. 2 wheels on the dirt, 2 wheels on the asphalt, and he's got past Johan Fourie. And Sydney, have a look at that bit of smoke coming off the left front, probably where he dinged into Melville Priest.
There is a bit of smoke, and I hope it's not going to make him retire out the race, but he still looks very strong in that position. As you can see, the Engine Extreme Audi of Michael Stevens pushing hard just to benefit from that little ding that just happened between the two Audis.
Well, I think the Audi pit crews are going to be getting super nervous. The 3 of them, you don't want to be seeing them going side by side through these corners because you've got to know somebody's going to be losing out. But, you know, it's a very, very close championship race. Johan Fourie looking for good results in race 2, and he's still in the fight, so it looks like maybe that damage wasn't terminal, with Michael Stevens slipping on the inside of him and getting to toss. He can chase after Melville Priest, that my car Audi. Oh, these cars are looking good, and the racing is super hot.
It looks like these cars are just going faster and faster around this track. Where are they finding the grip? It must be the Bridgestone tires. As you can see, Davy Olivier trying to find his way through the traffic. No, says Marco de Cunha with Sam Racing, as well as Johan Fourie.
Yeah, you talk about the Bridgestone tyres. I think these guys, especially the rear-wheel drive cars, must be loving the 18-inch rubber, as we've got a bit of rubber contact there as Davy was trying to get through Marco de Cunha on the inside there, and Marco having none of it and giving him a bit of a lover's tap there. Sure to discuss afterwards in the pit lane, but Anthony Taylor in that Afrox BMW has still not got past Darren Lobb. So Darren's certainly having a great race in second position, and the Sam Racing team's going to be stoked with this result if he can keep it up.
It's awesome racing, just keeping him at bay to see if he can get a little bit more frustrated, but awesome racing as well from Melville Priest in the Michael Lenovo Audi. Up front, it looks like Anthony Taylor's got a good towing. It looks like he's putting on a movie as they're going uphill, hard onto the brakes into that right-hander, closing the door on the inside. Is he going to? And he does.
Yeah, it's a super clean overtake move. You saw Darren Lobb moving back across, trying to make it as hard for him as possible. That's what racing is all about. It's amazing they still have brakes after so many laps around this intense Zwartkops racetrack. As you see, some of the Class B cars in front, and they're going to be having a rear view mirror full of the Bridgestone Production Class A Super Flyers. You don't want to be there. I'd rather pull to the side and look for parking.
It looks like Davy Olivier made that overtaking move onto Marco de Cunha's stick. He's overtaken. It looks like he's taken down the class. Very fast around this track indeed.
Yeah, shame. I think Darren Lobb, going all defensive, trying to hold Anthony Taylor behind him, has lost out on some pace, and that's given Melville Priest the toe on him, and he's got past him as well. So he's under some serious pressure now. We see some bodywork flying off, and he's now under pressure from Johan Fourie in that Indy Oils Audi, and Michael Steven right in the back. Johan, as I said, looking for a good result because it's championship points that he needs to recover. I told you the Class B cars are getting in the way, and they're trying to find a way out of the way, and Davy, lights blazing. He's on a serious charge.
He is on a serious charge, chasing down that Engine Extreme Audi of Michael Steven. What's happening here? It looks like everybody's just bombing and weaving, trying to find the way through the traffic. Davy Olivier looks like he's made a plan there.
Yeah, this is crazy. You can't put four guys together into that corner. Somebody's going to lose, and it looks like it was Darren Lobb getting touched as he turned in. Davy took the wide line to try and start out the trouble. He's still on the track, but my word, that was action up the top. The spectators must have loved that. But look at the daylight between Etienne van der Linde in first place and his teammate Anthony Taylor in that Afrox BMW. That is what happens when you get a clear piece of track and you can do what you have to do. But Davy looks like his race is run. Looks like he's got a punch into that left front tyre. Doesn't look too good for him, so he won't be celebrating with a double race win today. What a pity. But we saw the Class T guys and Class B guys all getting mixed up in the action. It's fun and games. Johan Fourie's car's terminal as well, Sydney. This is not good for his championship, eh?
No, it's not good at all. As you can see there, a bit of smoke coming out of those brakes. But as I know, Davy Olivier, he'll fix that car back out into the track. As you can see, his mechanics are helping him out to get that car out. 2 more laps to go, and we're passing now with the Class T's. Anthony Taylor in second place, and another T. Looks like a Melville Priest is going to be out the race. I wonder what's happening to his car, given an awesome chance to Michael Steven just to take over.
Yeah, Michael Steven, I think, loving the fact that he's got to actually race in this race. But Melville, just so unlucky, seems to be losing out with these little technical failures. We saw him change the motor twice when we raced in Pakisa last time out, and this isn't where he wants to be parking the car on the side of the race. He wants to be parking it in Park Vermeer in first place. But up front, Etienne van der Linde, the ideal race in that Afrox BMW, leading from start to finish, and followed home in second place by his teammate. What a great result for the Afrox BMW team.
Etienne van der Linde crossed the finish line 5 seconds ahead of his BMW teammate Anthony Taylor, and the race winner was naturally ecstatic with the result.
Etienne, race number 1 wasn't the ideal race for you. The car didn't sound very good. You were just making it over the line. But what a different result with the Afrox BMW team in race number 2.
Yeah, definitely a great turnaround. We were expecting to do well all weekend, and then I think qualifying caught everyone out, especially the rear-wheel drive cars. I ended up 10th on the grid. First heat I got up to 5th, and then had a fuel pressure problem which made me drop back, so unfortunate for that, but I think this one makes up for it.
Anthony Taylor's results for BMW elevated him to the top of the Class A points ladder, with his closest current rivals Audi driver Johan Fourie, BMW's Etienne van der Linde and Audi's Michael Steven.
Build the Flying Scotsman. Week by week, assemble this unique and detailed model with step-by-step instructions. Part 1, only $9.95.
Sport gives hope. Let's play.
We're behind the scenes. As you can see, we're constructing a sports show, brand new sport and lifestyle.
It's not a normal sports show.
Love sport. Lovesport.co.za.
LUV Sports.
We've got a big wave surfer, We've also got the brand new PSL side, Bay United.
Did you know John Smith, he loves muscle cars? Super Sport.
Super Sport 1. Dun, 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 dun. Play it, live it, love it. How you doing? How you doing? Play it, live it, love it.
Friday night, 9 o'clock.
Ish,
yeah.
Fine.
The greatest price you paid was to give your life away. That's the reason why I believe. And until that day we meet face to face, I will continue to believe. Never say die. I won't compromise. Never say die.
The Vodacom Tri-Nations, Australia versus New Zealand, live on SuperSport, and proudly brought to you by Vodacom, the greatest supporter of SA supporters.
Class T for two-wheel drive force-inducted petrol engine cars is hotly disputed this year, with the Works Mazda team under fire in the front trenches. We spoke to team principal Henny Prinsloo.
You know what, we must show Mazda that they've got a winning car here. The car is extremely quick. We've got two of the best drivers in the country. Everybody knows Heinz Bouzet. Heinz Bouzet is an old master. And then we've got youngster Etienne. He won the Rookie of the Year award last year, and this is mainly why Mazda maybe decided to give this drive to Etienne with Heinz. And with these two oaks behind this, the steering wheel, I believe that today we will do well, and we'll have to show to Mazda that we can win and we can do well. But then we've got Konica Minolta with their Bizza product that's pumping a lot of money into the Mazda team as well. We must show them that it's money well spent and they're not throwing it in the water. The same with the Motor Finance Company, MFC. I mean, it's so difficult if you disappoint all these very loyal sponsors race after race, and really I hope that today that we can show them that it was money well spent.
This year's current Class T Championship leader Graham Nathan and his Indy Oil sayer Leon Cooper were in fine form at Zwartkops, and he snatched pole position during Friday afternoon's official qualifying session. Afterwards, we interviewed the quickest three drivers in the class.
Look, your cars are on pace, the cars feel good, the team's done a great job, so we're hoping to be up front. This is my best result to date, so I'm hoping to stay up front.
Second on the front row of the grid was Ford Racing team leader Gary Formato in his Nando's Focus ST.
Yeah, look, we obviously like to have been on pole position as well. Seriously, I mean, for the race, it's very important. It's a short track, very hot today. And, our turbo cars are battling, if we follow somebody up close, we do have a battle with overheating. So I was really hoping to be on pole position. It was going to be a big advantage. So a little bit upset that we weren't, but Graham did a great job. Got the car going there 2 tenths quicker than us. It's quite a bit around this track. So we have to see how it goes in the race, trying to go after the car. And like I say, if we can nurse things to the end, then we've got a good chance.
Pole position occupant Graham Nathan was in a confident mood.
Well, firstly, all thanks to my team, and thank you very much to my new sponsor, Indy Oil, for coming aboard at this really last minute. I got very lucky with regards to my qualifying session yesterday. Gary and Sean were out on a flying lap when they got held up, and I managed to get in behind them and use them as a marker, and could manage to just pull off 2 tenths quicker than them, which is good for us. Great team work from my side and my team's side. And we're going to go out and try and take as many points in this championship as we can. That's all we do.
In similar fashion to the larger Class A cars, the qualifying times of the quickest 9 Class T drivers were covered by less than a second.
Well, this is where you're going to find the biggest selection of manufacturers on a racing grid. The Bridgestone production Class Ts are all underway at Zwartkops. Round 8, and it's Graham Nathan that said, leading them into the first turn.
It looks like in second place is Richard Roots in the OPC Astra, and followed by their team Nando's of Sean Duminy and Gary Formato. Apparently these cars got more power than Class A's, is that true?
Well, I wouldn't want to be telling the Class A drivers that, because they'll deny it at all costs. But you have a look, Graham Nathan checking out his side mirror, having a look where Richard Roots is. We know this Opel Astra OPC is super fast, prepared by Rob Green Racing. He's getting a super toe up that back straight, and it's all going to come down to heavy braking into this sweeping right-hander as they make their way up the top section. Look at the speed. These are cars that you guys can drive at home, and you wouldn't want to be doing those speeds on the national roads. Stick to racing and stick to drivers that know what they're doing. But certainly it's all action into this top complex. Lots of guys looking for overtaking opportunities.
There comes Sean Duminy on the inside of Heinz Bouzet on the MFC Mazda. He must not be impressed about that. Into that right-hander. Sean Duminy chasing down his partner.
Yeah, the Mazda team hoping for good results as well. They've been super quick during the qualifying, looking good in the races. Let's hope it's going to be a great result for them here at the Zwartkops racetrack. Duminy and Gary Vermaat look like they've got very, very well set up cars. This is 15 laps. It is heavy on the tyres. Talk about heavy on the tyres. You see Graham Nathan running wide there. As we said, this is front-wheel driven, turbocharged vehicles. They are pushing out like 177 kilowatts. The tyres are going to take strain. It looks like Gary Vermaat's car is taking a bit of strain as well. It's heavy on the driver, and it's certainly heavy on the machinery as well.
It looks like he's just going to go, oh, look at that. It looks like his turbo just blew. Lots of smoke on the track. Hopefully no oil around that area. But Tessie just having a great look in that as it happens just there as you get into pit straight.
Yeah, hopefully the team's going to be able to get the car ready for race 2. Not the result that Gary wanted. But up front, we've seen this the last 2 rounds at Kailami as well as at Pekisa. The Nathan and Roots Roadshow. And the two of them have opened up a healthy lead. We're on board now with Record Roots as we have a look. That is Kwesi Swanepoel's Barnett's Toyota Runex, keeping well out of the way. A Class B car getting out of the way of these flying Class Ts. It looks like Roots has a toe on Nathan and just comes steaming past him into that section. I'm predicting probably the front-wheel drive cars. Those tyres are starting to go off, and hopefully Roots will be able to keep the brakes lasting. I know there was a problem in pit lane earlier.
Well, at this stage of the race, 2 laps to go. It's all about seeing if you can finish the race. As you know, this is one of those hottest tracks on brakes and tires. And these cars being front-wheel drive and being so powerful around this track, overheating those tires towards the end of the race. Sean Duminy making headway on Nathan there. Nathan's not going to be happy about that.
This is an unbelievable result, though, because Sean Duminy looking to obviously have a win, which would be his first in the Bridgestone Production Class T class, and he's looking super strong. But the action up front, these two have had a ding-dong battle all race. Donnie van Niekerk is at his hands full with Ben Morgenrud, that Ford Fiesta ST getting pushed out the way by the Mazda RX-8. Ben, the wily old fox, looks like he's got another one over the youngster Donnie. But catching up with the action up front, just 1 lap to go, and have a look at this. Sean Duminy, I think, has got a whiff of his first win in the Production Class Ts, and he's putting Record Roots under severe pressure. That Ford is looking phenomenal. His brakes seem good, his tyres seem good. Good race for them, Sid.
I was chatting to both the teammates early on the race weekend, and they were both telling me that this is where Sean Duminy learned how to race. His first ever trying to racing was at this track at Zwartkops. Clearly he knows it very well, and Regardt Roos must be thinking, where did this Ford come from?
Unbelievable. It comes down to setup and setting up for 15 laps of a very, very technical course and a hard course on driver and car. And look at him, showing him a clean set of wheels. Regardt Roos has got no drive in that Opel Astra OPC. I think he's really overcooked his tyres, and Sean Duminy is going to be smiling. Just 1 lap to go. He's got to hold it together, keep the car on the line, and he's going to be celebrating big style in Park Vermeer.
There comes Lee Thompson in the Polo GTI of Gallardo IT. Really good race, giving those Opel Astras a good run for their money.
Yeah, he's come on strong in the latter part of this race, and he's looking to get past Regardt Roos, which will put him in 2nd position. I don't think his Opel riders can believe what has happened, and Graham Nathan is even further back. Look at the toe this little Polo GTI is getting. Regardt going all defensive, but without brakes and without tyres, it's only a matter of time before Lee gets around him. And look at him, the audacity to go around the outside of that bend. Unbelievable racing.
Making those OPCs look really slow around that corner. Up the hill we come, hard onto the brakes, into that right-hander, and see what happens. Regardt Roos, does he have any answer for that pass move?
No, I think it's all done. I like you saying hard onto the brakes. I don't think there are any brakes for Regardt to go hard onto. I'm thinking he's hoping he's got extra rub on his racing shoes, but Lee, with a clean pair of heels, gets away from him. But have a look at that right out front. Sean Duminy must be going wild in that Ford Nando's ST car, and Lee Thompson following in 2nd place, with Regardt Roos holding off Gary van Heerden for a 3rd, which is an unbelievable race result for him. But well done, Sean Duminy.
By finishing 1st and 2nd for Sean Duminy and Volkswagen's Lee Thompson turned the regular Class T pecking order upside down, with Opel's Regardt Roos in a distant 3rd place. Ben Morgenrud took his customary Class B victory over Donnie van Niekerk. We found a happy Sean Duminy in the pits.
Sean Duminy, wow! Always been there on the race pace throughout the whole weekend. First win for Class T at the same track that your partner also taught you to race. You must be feeling off this planet.
Okay, lots of praying, and it came through. Awesome, awesome, awesome.
What is your secret through the race?
You know what, I just try to drive with him myself. Leave a little bit in the car, knowing that there's going to be tyre issues and what have you. I could see Gary was having issues, and I was behind Gary, so I just stuck with Gary. And when he went off, I decided to let it go. And then I saw Nathan and Roots backing off. I saw they must have had an issue or something. So yeah, we were lucky. It was great, awesome. I'm very happy.
Race 2 of Class T to reverse grid, a standing start. Nathan didn't have such a good result in race 1, but looks like it gave him a bit of a benefit going through the first corner as he started on pole position. Some dust being kicked up. It looks like it's one of the OPCs, the Astras. Looks like Rechard Roots.
Yeah, it looks like he ran very wide into turn 1. Obviously wanted to make up the deficit with the reverse grid. But have a look, good news for all the Ford fans out there. That Ford ST Nando's car driven by Gary Fumata has been fixed and he's out and looking competitive in race number 2. Ian Pepper very quiet in race number 1. We're on board with him now as he gets a good look at Gary van Heerden fighting that car going into that fast sweep right at the top of the Zwartkops circuit. He's hoping to get a good drive into that tight section so he can put his PG Autoglass Golf GTI into a good position to get past Gary van Heerden. This is where it gets very exciting at the Zwartkops race circuit, one of the good overtaking opportunities.
Hard onto the brakes, 2 more corners till pit straight. Who's going to go through there? It looks like Graham Nathan is still in the lead. The 2 GTIs are playing it nicely for 4th position there.
Yeah, Piet Versaki getting pushed wide by Ian Pepper, but I think he's going to have the better line going into that corner. Oh no, not. He's been blown away by Ian Pepper. I think he's keen for a good result in this race. Have a look there at Etienne Prinsloo in the Biz Hub Mazda MPS, looking for a good result as well. Very quiet in race 1, but Gary Fumata and the guys have got a lot of work to do coming from the back of that grid, as well as Sean Dumney, who won race 1. He's going to want to make it a double for sure.
Absolutely, it looks like he's on charge, wanting to make a double win for today as the car's going really fast around that corner. Graham Nathan still in the lead, then comes the 2 OPCs, then Ian Pepper as well.
I wonder if they've learned a lesson, Sydney. Race 1, they went out far too hot and certainly put a lot of pressure on those unbelievable Bridgestone tyres and overheating them and resulting in them dropping back later on in the race. Are they going to be easing off the pace, conserving the tyres, conserving the brakes, and hoping to have a good result?
It looks to me that Graham Nathan's trying to pull away from the guys, but as far as it is now, he sees that he hasn't been able to do that, so he's decided just to stick back a little bit, maybe group the guys back in again, and maybe later on in the race to start pulling away.
No, I don't think it's about pulling away, I think it's about conserving. But have a look, Sean Dumney has certainly got the bit between the teeth, or is it the Nando's chicken bone between the teeth? He's looking super racy, and so is Hans Bozay, putting that Mazda MFC right up the back of Michael van Rooyen in the RSC Golf GTI. Keep a lookout for the 2 of them as this race wears on. They're both looking for good results. But Sydney, you said it, the guys are bunched up. Ian Pepper's in it, Gary van Heerden's there, Rechard Roots is certainly there in 3rd position, following his teammate Gary van Heerden. That's a turn up for the books.
It looks like there's a bit of a good battle going here between Piet Versaki and the GTI, as well as in the Biz Hub Mazda of Etienne Prinsloo. Good racing indeed.
Yeah, it looks like Dumney has put an assault on Mr. Pepper as he gets past him at PG Glass car, dropping back. Dumney is oozing confidence after race 1, and he's got his focus firmly set on those Opel Astra OPCs, prepared by Rob Green Racing. And you see Roots finally getting past Gary van Heerden. But this is fantastic racing. Tyres seem to be holding out a lot better, so are the brakes. I think the guys have learned from race number 1.
Absolutely, it always helps to learn from what you've done in race 1 and see if you can apply that knowledge onto race 2 for a good result. Rechard Roots, knowing very well that he's very fast going on the straights, he's going to go into the inside of Graham Nathan and just nudging as they're going through around that corner. He's going to keep it sticking down. Yes, he is. Up the hill they go now. They're going to be hot onto the brakes. Then 2 more corners into the pit straight. He went a little bit wide into that corner, but he made it stick.
Yeah, the K Eddy Estates sponsored Sayed with a new branding of Indy Oils on board. Thought he would have another go at Rechard Roots, but the door was very firmly shut. Rechard hoping to improve on his 3rd place in race number 1 with a solid win in race number 2. On board now with Ian Pepper. We have a look at Piet Versaki outbraking himself, running wide, and Ian's looking for a way through, but he's under pressure and gets tapped big time. Piet Versaki just forcing his way back to the track, not looking, and Sergeant Pepper giving him the Gauteng overtaking. Thank you, how are you doing? Not too happy about that. He's lost heaps of places as we have a look. Gary Fumata coming through now as well, putting Lee Thompson, that Gallardo Polo GTR, under pressure, and a good result for Philip Kakana. Looks like he's having one of his strongest races in that Sayat.
He must be just a little bit disappointed as he won last time here at Zwartkops, but hey, that's how it goes here at racing. An awesome racing being put now as we got 2 laps to go between the Mazda and the Polo GTI of Lee Thompson, being much lighter than the rest of the cars in Class T, and basically that's helping out on the wear and tear of the tyres and the brakes.
But good result. Etienne Prinsloo looking very strong, and hopefully he can get that Biz Hub Mazda MPS over the line and get some good points. But Mark Carver and Michael van Rooyen having a battle of their own, and behind them one of the Afrox BMWs trying to come through. Michael van Rooyen going the wrong route. I think he's got the Dusty Springfield soundtrack on full ball up there, but making his way back onto the track. The back of the car looking a little bit damaged as he hopes to make his way over the finish line.
It's the last corner. Rechard Roots holding back a very much determined Graham Nathan. but it looks like Richard is going to take it in first position.
Richard Ruth's Opel crossed the finish line just 0.4 of a second in front of Graham Nathan Sayat, while Sean Domini scored his second podium place of the day for Ford, 6 seconds further adrift. Afterwards, we asked Rutz how he managed to win this particular high-velocity chess game against long-time rival Graham Nathan.
Yeah, well, I had to try and find out what sort of pace he's going to run and how hard he was pushing, and I think he had it down to a T because we had very similar idea. But I saw my car starting to get hot, and there's only two ways: either get past him or fall back, and I didn't want to fall back and lose touch with him, so I put my nose in there and got through.
Graham Nathan left Zwartkops with a substantial Class T championship lead. His only viable challenger, Ian Pepper, is a full 30 points adrift.